Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Sandy Smith, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Sergeant Kayla Andriata. This evening, we warmly welcome the family of leading aircraftman Percival Leslie Sullivan, whose story will be told shortly. We also warmly welcome the Frank McDonald Memorial Prize delegation from Tasmania. The Frank McDonald Prize is an essay-based competition open to all Year 9 students in Tasmania. It aims to promote and preserve the meaning of the Anzac spirit in the Tasmanian community and is named in honour of Tasmania's last surviving First World War veteran. As always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's first World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved. And here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to leading aircraftman Percival Leslie Sullivan. Known as Percival Sullivan was born in Ballarat on the 5th of July 1917, the first child of Bert and Margaret Sullivan. Perce grew up in Ballarat alongside siblings Bert and Nancy and attended Brown Hill Public and Ballarat Technical School. He went on to undertake a 6-year apprenticeship at Duncan's Joinery. Perce also met Margaret Thompson, known as Dot, and the two began a relationship, eventually becoming engaged. Before long, the couple would marry. Percival Sullivan enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force on the 7th of July, 1941. After training in Melbourne at Point Cook and Bairnsdale in January 1942, he transferred to No. 7 Squadron. In June, he was posted to No. 30 Squadron RAF, having re-mustered as an armourer. As part of the squadron's ground crew, armourers were responsible for maintaining and repairing aircraft weapons, as well as rearming machine guns and loading bombs. All this had to be done between the aircraft operations, which often meant working long hours under considerable time pressures. 30 Squadron had formed at RAF Base Richmond in March 1942 as a long-range fighter squadron operating Bristol Beaufighters. After a brief period of training, the squadron deployed to Townsville, where it escorted anti-shipping patrols. In early September, a small detachment from the squadron was sent to Milne Bay, from where it attacked Japanese shipping, becoming the first RAF Beaufighter squadron to see action. Not long afterwards, Aircraftman Sullivan and the rest of the squadron were deployed to Port Moresby in New Guinea, where the squadron was to operate a low-level ground attack unit. On the 3rd of February 1943, Perce Sullivan was accidentally killed while working on a Beaufighter at No. 30 Squadron's base at Port Moresby. At about 5 p.m, Sullivan was undertaking maintenance on a Beaufighter which had an unexploded round in the breech of its 20mm cannon. A stoppage had occurred, with the round failing to fire because of a dent in the cartridge case. When Sullivan rammed a cleaning rod down the barrel, the round was forced onto the firing pin, causing it to explode. The round passed through Sullivan's body, entering his chest and passing through his back, killing him instantly. Perce Sullivan was 25 years old. Today, his remains lie buried in Port Moresby's Fermanagh War Cemetery, under the inscription chosen by his grieving family, "Our loved one Perce, we will always remember you smiling." His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember leading aircraftman Percival Leslie Sullivan, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.